Knicks Universe, main man, Uncle Freezy. I'm joined by the man that is so smooth, he does not require a chaser. Anthony D is in the building still. The real AD is in the building. Sir, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. Good morning, Uncle Freezy.
Good
Salute,
morning. Good morning.
Nick Nation. Let me apologize for us not being able to rock last week, but you know that's how it goes. Sometimes we have some technical difficulties, and we need to, go back and shake things up and come back again.
And
So how
go
are you, Uncle
shorty. You know?
Uncle Freezy?
Yeah,
It's
man.
your
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah, man.
Absolutely. So what's going
Um,
on? How are you, Uncle Freezy?
man, I'm good. These two topics that you brought up this morning, I think, are two peripheral topics that are really interesting. That probably a lot of people talk about. It's not a main topic, but since you have a platform, we can chop it up, bro. We can chop it up for real.
Why not? Why
Um,
not?
and topic, and I don't know if it's topic number one, but it's a topic. Um, Allan Houston and his place with the Knicks, historically as a player, as an executive. What does this mean? What does this man mean to the organization? And why is it important that he's still here? Salute to DSJ. DSJ is in the building. What's good?
DSJ. Salute.
So right since 2019, Allan Houston has officially been the special advisor to the general manager and the general manager of the Westchester Knicks.
He's been in that role or a similar role for 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Similar role
Since
with a different
retirement.
name or something. So
Since
sometimes
retirement.
I don't even think his title. I think he thought he was just in the building sometimes because I never knew what his real title was until.
As I said to you before we came on, the man lacks for professional development, professional growth.
Yeah, he
Crying
is
out
the
loud.
Obi Toppin of executives, bro. He is not developed
Ooh.
yet.
Ooh.
Is that accurate or no? Oh, that mean? Okay, that might have been a
Obi
little
ain't been on
mean.
the job 20
Yeah, that
years.
might have been a little mean.
Oh
I
my
don't mean that.
God.
I don't mean Allan Houston no disrespect, but I'm by that. We kid, we joke,
But
right?
he's never been, not to my knowledge, he's never been considered for the big chair.
That's a crime too, bro.
Yeah, he's never been considered for the big chair. And I'm like, well, is it something that he
Which big
does not
chair? The
want?
general manager or team president?
Both. Because both of
Mm,
those are decision-making chairs.
they are.
He's never, not to my knowledge, been considered, interviewed. Maybe they've done it, behind the scenes and so forth. I would I would think at least a token interview, for one
Right.
of the one of the most memorable players in franchise history and so forth, but never. And it's not only him, but him, Ewing, never.
Starks. I don't know if Starks is polished enough to be that guy.
But he's been in a role as, if he's not polished, I mean, then when do you get polished? Because he's been in a role as as an ambassador,
Ambassador for years.
as an ambassador for years. So you
Right.
you out politicking, talking to people, developing relationships and so forth. So is that not the beginning groundwork of someone in a general manager type of position, that you have to have relationships?
No, I agree with you. I don't dispute that fact. I would say Starks, on one hand, I can't ever imagine. Pat Ewing, on the other hand, I think um the ship has passed him by, right? Not because he's not talented enough to do it, but because thank you. But because of his advanced age, right? When he was the big man coach for the Charlotte Hornets or the
Mhm.
Charlotte Bobcats or whoever, whichever they were, Pat Ewing's name rang bells around the league because he was helping develop big men with communication skills. Like he could communicate to a player what he wanted them to do, and they could get it by listening to him. It's what helped parlay him into coaching jobs and such. because he can show you and he knows the game, but can he communicate well? And to his credit, Pat Ewing is a very good communicator.
Now, are we talking in the big chair, or are you talking as coach? A consideration
No.
as coach.
I'm saying as a coach, he's a great communicator. But now, Patrick Ewing is 60. You know what I'm saying? Do you change careers now? Do you move into a front office role at 60, or do you keep coaching? I can't see the Knicks giving him any type of position in the front office that's going to give him more career growth than coaching. Right? Is he going to be the assistant? He going to be a special assistant to Allan Houston? Because if we don't know what Allan Houston do, you know the special assistant to Allan Houston ain't gonna be. You know what I'm
saying? We don't know what Allan. Now, I have a problem with that because if we don't know what he does, okay, and he's in an executive role, what the hell does Worldwide Wesley do?
He's their boss.
He's their boss,
right?
Okay, let's make sure we clear that up. This man who had no organizational ties before.
None.
Okay. We couldn't pick him out in a lineup.
Right.
Before these last couple of years where we see him straggle along on the bench.
Right.
As if he's doing something. Looks very intense on the bench, by the
way. He's an entertainment mogul, bro. Oh, he's connected.
Oh, he's connected. What he's connected to?
What the hell does that have to do with basketball?
What he's connected to? A conduit pipe? What is it?
Basically,
what is he? A plumber?
I guess. The way he screwed us in the Donovan Mitchell deal, I guess.
I heard he used to sell shoes. What is the Black Bundy of the?
Yeah, he's Sal Bundy.
Huh?
Sal Bundy. Sal Bundy. That's. But on the Allan Houston thing though. On the Allan Houston thing though, for one, let me just say this. I've met Allan Houston in person 3 times. And I've been around him 10 to 20 times. And every time out of those 10 to 20 times, I'm like, hey, H2O. He acknowledged, hey, what's up, man? Every time. December, when I went to see them in Charlotte, I was like, hey, H2O. You know what I'm saying? The Knicks blowing out the Hornets. I'm like, hey, H2O. And he like, hey. You know what I'm saying? Met him a few times, right? Like, not like me and him sat down for lunch. Like, yo, there go Allan Houston. Hey, man, how you doing? He like, man, I'm good. How y'all tonight? Well, very, very friendly, very welcoming. Like the dude that legit makes you, proud to be like a Knick fan. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody, he always well dressed, always sharp, always put together. Every time, I have never seen that man not look immaculate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and so when you speak to him, man, others like Scott Perry, sometimes Scott Perry will acknowledge you, sometimes he won't. I don't know why. You never know the circumstance. In Charlotte, you like, hey, now you gotta be
if he's worth acknowledging.
But you don't know what people are going through. Like you see Scott Perry walking fast somewhere, you be like, hey, look at Scott Perry. Hey, Scott Perry, and he just zoom. You know what I'm saying? And then other times it's like, but he's still.
I know somebody who was attempting to get an internship with the Knicks organization, and he was on the phone with Perry. Granted him, after they did the whole graduation, blah 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 blah, and he's gets what was supposed to be a telephone interview. I think Perry gave him like 7 minutes.
Wow.
And he said throughout the 7 minutes, people were coming in and out of the office and and next thing you know, it turns into Mr. Perry will get back in contact with you. Somebody comes on the phone.
Wow.
Mr. Perry will get back in contact with you if anything becomes available. and so forth and so forth. And
Wow, that's crazy.
congratulations on your certificate. Keep
Wow,
it
that's
rolling.
crazy.
But let me throw something in there in the Allan Houston thing, and that I think people have forgotten. It's that Allan Houston is a deeply religious
Yep.
Christian,
Yep.
man.
Yep.
Okay. And he's been that way as long as I've known
Yep.
about him, from his early days
Yep.
at Tennessee
Yep.
and so forth, right through with Detroit, right through with the Knicks. Tell me if you remember this. About somewhere in the tail end of his Knicks career, before he hurt the knee, when Charlie Ward was still here,
Yep.
they gave an interview. I can't remember if him and Ward were together or if it was separate or something. And their Christian beliefs came out
Right.
in the article.
Okay.
And they said some things, if I don't remember it verbatim, okay? But I'm just going around, so if anyone in the chat remembers and so forth. And he said some things that it wasn't, popular, what they said.
Okay.
So when you were talking about Houston, and even when we were discussing the topics of the show beforehand, I didn't remember that until you started talking about Houston.
Right.
And could that possibly be something that has hindered him in his Knicks growth or around the league growth? Quite possibly.
Okay. Let me say,
because I can't remember what he said, but I know it was him and Ward.
Okay. Right. Well, when I will say this, okay. So you asked that to me as a friend, right? And then you asked that to me as a professional. So let me do the professional part first, right? As a professional, you would hope that the Knicks personnel department does not hold back a job position from anyone in their organization based off religious beliefs, based off sexuality, based off age, race, any of that stuff, right? Let me make that clear first of all, right? Second of all, as the homie, I know the Knicks can be petty like that. You know what I'm saying? I know they could be petty like that, right?
This is the
Like
same organization that had that scanner thing behind Melo's seat during the game. This little crazy looking hobbit looking white guy is behind the Knicks bench trying to pick up the conversation.
Right.
This is the same organization that did that.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So you're right. So I'm not hey, salute Ron. Salute hey, Keith Turner's in the building. What's good, y'all? Nick G. What I'm gonna say to as the homie is I understand that the New York Knicks can be very petty, right, with a lot of stuff. Right. On the one hand, Dolan has bent over backwards to try to bring in guys into the organization. Some dudes, through their experience, are sour on the Knicks, and some dudes, through their experiences, are sour towards Dolan, which is not a Knicks issue. It's just a hey, I don't like James Dolan. I don't care if he owned Brooklyn, Toronto, or the Knicks. I don't like Dolan, right? Some people just don't like Dolan, right? And then some are, they play basketball, they make their money, and they don't want to be a part of this stuff. They just want to. They were family oriented before they got the money, and they're family oriented afterwards. They just don't want to be around that. You know what I'm saying? Some people are just like that. That's their personality. That's their choice, right? In the case of, like, say for instance, in the case of a Charles Oakley, right?
Okay.
In the case of a Charles Oakley is, from what I gather, is one of those dudes that believe in loyalty to the extreme loyalist, right? The Knicks traded him to Toronto, and he's probably still bitter about that, that he got traded, right? But the thing about it is, I'm not for sure why you're not bitter with Chicago. They traded you also,
Okay.
right? So my thing is is it a Dolan? Is it really a Dolan thing? Is it you're bitter because you got traded, or is it as simple as I was loyal to these guys, man. I gave them everything I had. They traded me. They didn't show loyalty back, so I burnt that bridge, right? But then you have Allan Houston, who, for a lot of people that don't remember, Allan Houston's last 2 years in New York were like Carmelo Anthony's last 2 years in New York,
Yes.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Allan
Yes.
Houston was injured, was getting paid all that money. He would come back from injury and get hurt
Isaiah was
again.
tormenting him.
Yep,
Yes.
yep. All of this, man, and so the NBA, when the NBA created the amnesty rule, they named it after Allan Houston. The Allan Houston rule. You sign a guy, he get hurt, and now you got to pay this dude all this money for the rest of the contract, and he can't even play because contracts are guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? The last 2 years. Listen, the last 2 years of Patrick Ewing in New York, Pat Ewing didn't deserve that, man. Pat Ewing did
No, that's not fair. No, that's not fair. But
yeah,
but, but,
trade.
but no, that's not fair, Freezy. And I know we just kind of slid, but we'll double back on this on Houston thing for a second. But that's not
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, no. I'm going to a Houston thing.
Okay.
I'm
but
in the
that
Houston thing.
but that's not fair. His last 2 years here were not. His last 2 years here, and
Whose last 2 years?
Ewing. Ewing's last 2 years
see.
here. Ewing, if you remember correctly, Uncle Freezy,
Right.
Ewing's last 2 years here, the Knicks went to the Eastern Conference Finals twice and a finals appearance.
Right.
That's just facts.
I know that.
He got upset because of what Sprewell and some of the other Knicks had said.
Larry Johnson.
Johnson and Camby and whoever.
All the Knicks that wanted to run, it's that group.
Who wanted to run.
Yep,
right?
That group, all the cats that wanted to run, they talked about Pat Ewing slowing down the game.
Yep. Okay, so he goes to them. He forces the deal. But go ahead, go back with
So my thing is not just that though, not the way that ended, and not the way the stuff had manifested in the papers about Pat Ewing being Old Man River, 15-year vet. He 37. You can't have the face of the franchise be 37. All this stuff, right? I'm not talking about that per se. I'm talking about Pat was traded and all this stuff. Excuse me. When Pat wanted to get back into the game in some capacity.
Okay.
When Pat wanted to get back in the game in some capacity, whether it be the head coach of the Knicks, which was out, because you remember Pat wanted to be the head coach of the Knicks.
I never saw him as a coach.
But the thing about Pat Ewing being the head coach of the Knicks is Pat Ewing had no head coaching experience at no level, right?
But a lot of guys don't got no coaching experience.
I understand that, bro. But there is you have to go through some type of apprenticeship. You have to understand that once you become a coach, you are a part of the front office. Not front office, but you're a part of management.
What apprenticeship did Derek Fisher go through?
Man, I don't know. You see how that worked out, right? You see how that worked out, right? That was the stupidest hire.
Did Jacques Vaughn go through?
Jacques Vaughn was a coach for a lot of years. It was San Antonio and other places.
No, but I'm saying before he got, I think, wasn't his first job Orlando?
No, he was it might have been.
Oh, am I mixing them up?
It might have been.
I'm mixing up coaches.
It may have been. I know Jacques Vaughn, whether he was a head coach first and then got fired and then was an assistant for a lot of years. However it happened, Jacques Vaughn was an assistant coach for a lot of years.
Okay.
Before he got back to Brooklyn.
What training program did Jason Kidd go through?
Did you see how that wound up in Brooklyn?
Yeah, because he was trying to get Woody out of here.
Right. What about Steve Nash in Brooklyn? Another one.
God.
Right? Is it
Well,
what I'm getting at? What ultimately the point I'm getting to is, in order for you to be successful, you
okay.
have to. There has to be a gesting and manifestation period where you learn management where you rinse off the being a player part and become a manager. You know what I'm saying?
Did
There's
you
an
just use the
orientation
word
period.
jesting?
Yes,
Innocent. Go
yes, yes.
ahead,
You gotta
Breezy.
have it, AD. You gotta have it, AD. You've been in the workforce long enough. You know when you either
Absolutely.
you or one of your homeboys used to work with you, and then you or your homeboy got promoted to management, and now you no longer one of the boys, but your boys see you as that. You
I ran away from that for the majority of my life. I
right,
never liked that. I never liked management. No
right.
disrespect to management.
Well. The thing about it is you have to become a manager. You in the interview, you tell them that you are a manager, and they
Yeah.
put faith in you, and you have to be that. You can't be a player,
Yeah.
right? So you have to be willing to make the tough decisions.
So
You have
are
to
we
listen to people.
saying that Allen Houston was not willing to make, because the point that I brought up, just to go back to that particular moment, him, Ward, and I'll give you another name that has been punished for the same thing. Mark Jackson.
Okay,
Mark Jackson is a deeply religious man as well. Mark
right,
Jackson said some things in interviews behind the scenes, and I from what we heard, because I try and always listen really carefully when I hear things from the media, and
right,
try and trying to find, as my great grandmother used to say, try and pick sense from nonsense,
right. Yep,
right?
right.
So I remember
Your
that
grandma was smart. She probably a beautiful woman.
yes, that's my great grandmother, Mabel Allen, lived to be 97. Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
Blessings to us.
Salute to Mabel
Yep.
and the Allen clan. But you see what I'm saying? When you put out certain beliefs in the air that the majority of people is not trying to hear, and they think that you're trying to force an objective down their throats,
Yeah.
professionally, it's gonna work against you.
Okay.
And I think especially with the latter, especially with Mark Jackson.
Okay.
Okay. Because there's no reason why Mark Jackson, forget about being Knicks coach. How has he not been given a job anywhere else in 15 years?
I understand.
It's been 15. How long has Curry's been in the league? 15 years, and
Yeah.
Mark's been the first, what, 3 years with him, or
Yeah. Something
two,
like that. Yeah.
something like
It's
that.
been over
Okay.
10 years.
So it's been
Definitely.
12 years since he's had a job.
Right. That is not a Knicks issue then.
That's not a
That's
Knicks issue.
that's
No,
a
no,
Mark
no.
Jackson issue. So Mark
That's a
Jackson did something to somebody where his reputation is sullied.
But the correlation is, like I'm saying, he said some things along those religious Christian beliefs that you know I'm not in the know like that, but could that have rubbed people the wrong way? Just like with Allen and Ward, could that have rubbed people the wrong way? Because
Right.
it is a part of their resume.
Right. Right.
See what I'm saying?
It
Because
may have been.
what other reason? What, unless Allen is telling them, how come everybody gets to come from outside the organization and be his boss?
So for one thing, let me establish this. James Dolan is loyal to a fault. Let me just say that. If James Dolan ever accepts you, you are accepted for life. You know what I'm saying? To hear what Kenny Payne said about James Dolan, and Kenny Payne had only been here for like a year and a half. I mean, come on, bro. Kenny Payne was like, "Yo, I'm taking a Louisville job." Dolan's like, "Yo, why you leaving the Knicks family, bro? You got a good thing here." Like James Dolan, legit, and this is, you can find um um the Kenny Payne article in the public domain somewhere. But Kenny Payne, James Dolan talked to Kenny Payne, right? Put Kenny Payne on the board of the NBA Coaches Association, bro, as an assistant coach. Kenny Payne was the highest paid assistant coach in the NBA.
$4 million.
Yes. Right? Right? And this is what James Dolan did. This is not, he didn't have to do any of this stuff. So Kenny Payne, wants to leave and take the Louisville job because he wants to help the Louisville community. He felt like it's bigger than basketball. He want to, impact lives. You know what I'm saying? And I don't fault Kenny Payne for that. You know what I'm saying? He can impact lives at the NBA level, but he may be more impactful with high school age kids, college age kids. If he feel like that's his calling, who are we to get in his way? Let him do what it is that he want to do. He tells James Dolan this, and James Dolan says, "Man, I don't want you to leave, but if you feel like that's your calling, bro, you not only do you have my verbal support, but you have my resources as well." Right? So for James Dolan, bro, it is not like, James Dolan is not an idiot, or James Dolan is not like the wizard from Oz, right? Behind the curtain, and you find out it's a wimp. You know what I'm saying? It's not that, right? So Allan Houston being in that place must, in my mind, Allan Houston has his heart set on one job and one job only, and he's not going to accept any other job. He either wants to be team president or bust, and is willing to work his way up to do so.
Hold on. Allan Houston's closer to 60 than 50.
I understand.
So if you haven't gotten there now,
yeah, he should be 50. He should be what, 52?
No.
Yeah, I'm gonna look over. Allan Houston is young, bro.
You know what? You're right. You are right. Yeah, he'd be about 52, 53, something like that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
when is he supposed
He's
to get
51.
that job? Okay, so when is he supposed to get that job?
They're not for sure. Allan Houston is 51. Jeez, that's crazy.
Right,
And the reason
early. He came out of Tennessee early. I think he played at Tennessee 3 years? 3.
I think. But the thing I was gonna say to you is not even that Allan Houston, not only that Allan Houston thing, but listen, do you know who the general manager is of the Atlanta Hawks?
No.
Landry Fields.
Who? Our Landry Fields?
Our Landry Fields.
Stop it. Bro, are you serious?
Hand to the man, bro.
Whoa.
Hand to the man.
Is Landry even 40?
37.
Nice.
Now, I'm not going to discredit Landry Fields. Mind you, Landry Fields graduated from Stanford. That's a smart brother. You know what I'm saying? Let's not get into it. Just because he couldn't shoot don't mean he's not intelligent. You know what I'm saying? Well, he could shoot. But his shot went away, and the Knicks wasn't patient with him after he went into a slump.
It's not that. Well, I don't think it was that per se. I think, because remember, he got a hell of a deal from Toronto when he became a restricted free agent or something like that. I think Toronto gave him like a 4-year, $25 million contract, and the Knicks were like, hey, go handle that.
Nah, he was in the Bargnani trade.
No.
Yes, he was.
No.
Yes, he was. Him and Steve Novak.
No.
Yes.
Or no. Is he in the Bargnani trade? Are you sure?
Yes. I remember thinking, why are you breaking up Jeremy Lin?
So it's Toronto. So Toronto gave him that contract? Because I know Toronto gave him the contract, but did Toronto already have him in-house when they gave him the contract?
Yes.
Okay. I don't remember that, but okay.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
going to look it up right now. Let me see. Are you
Here's a
trade?
player that I don't think we've ever touched on Landry Fields before. Landry Fields. Landry Fields was a nice player.
Yep.
A second round pick that when he got his opportunity, I remember clearly in summer league, because I think he was drafted with
Andy Routins.
well, not just Routins, but he came in the same draft with
Josh Harrelson.
what's the first round pick the Knicks had that they drafted him number 6?
No.
He's not he's not with
No, we didn't have a first round pick that year. Our 2
okay.
picks were Routins.
Routins, okay.
Routins, remember, Routins is the son of the star basketball player from Toronto.
Right.
No, he didn't play for the Raptors now, but he was from Toronto, played for a little while, and now he's still Leo Routins still does TV for the Toronto Raptors.
Okay.
Right?
I thought I'm mixing up. Okay, you're right. We didn't have a first round pick, but he made, because I remember he had a putback dunk in preseason, and was like, "Who is this kid?"
Yep.
Because he kind of reminded me of not Terry DeHere, Kerry Kittles. He reminded me of Kerry Kittles, and I was like, "Wow, the Knicks may actually have something here," because he was a second round pick, and he just starred that
AD,
summer.
you right. You are right. So
what?
Marcus Camby, Steve Novak, Quentin Richardson, via sign and trade, a first round pick in 2016, a second round pick selections in 2014 and 2017.
Right.
Toronto, we gave up all of that.
Toronto signed him. Signed him in that offseason. I remember this clearly. I think he was a restricted free agent. Toronto gave him like 4 or 5 years, $21-22 million, something like that.
That's crazy.
He was gone.
Oh,
and the thing is, he worked well with Melo.
Yes.
He was a good wing. He was that first year under D'Antoni. And I know we've drifted, but that's what we do. The offense, especially if you look at the offense and look at Melo's offense.
$20 million.
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. You are right.
He was so good in that offense. I think he might have averaged, what was his top average with the Knicks? 13 points?
I can't remember.
13, I think might have been his top average with the Knicks, but he was a good role player. He
was a great role player.
Yeah, he was a good role player. He had bouncy legs. You had to account for him on the free throw line because he would come crashing in.
Yep.
Hello, Obi.
Yes, Obi.
Okay? He would use his athleticism. You had to, and if I remember correctly, he led shooting guards 1 year in rebounds. Because he was a good rebounder. I think he had was like 7 rebounds a game.
At 6'7". Yes.
At 6'7", if I remember. And he wasn't playing like 35, 40 minutes, but he was just a good role player. Good role player. And then Toronto gave him that money. My friend cussed him like he was his firstborn.
Yeah.
You know, he's gonna rule the day. He take that money. Not all money is good money, and not all money is good money. I'm like, yo, dude, how you gonna knock him? The Knicks are not. The Knicks said goodbye.
Right.
He's got this money on the table. What was the deal? 3 years.
3 years, $20 million.
$20 million.
And what it was, he got a spike in the third year.
Right.
So it was like 5. It was like 5 mil, 6
like a poison pill. They threw in like a poison pill for the Knicks not to touch it.
Yeah.
And the Knicks are like, we wasn't planning on signing him anyway. Not for that.
Yeah. And so the weird thing is, and I know I want to get back to the Allan Houston thing. I didn't want to get straight too far just so that we can, I'm saying, do Allan Houston some justice. Man, listen, the Knicks over the years just don't covet shooting guards, bro. The Knicks, they don't covet nobody. You know what I'm saying? Because one time I said Julius Randle might be the greatest power forward in Knicks history, right? For that even to be a topic of conversation is ridiculous, right? For me to even be able to say that is ridiculous, right?
But look at Julius though, as far as them building around him.
Right.
The Knicks never gave Carmelo Brunson.
No. J.L. Smith was just about the best player that day.
His best player was Tyson Chandler.
Yeah. Yeah. And they
His,
got J.L. Smith from China.
right. His best day-to-day player was Tyson Chandler. But they never gave him that.
Right.
They gave him broken down old players. No disrespect to Kid.
Or Amari. Or Bibby.
Or Bibby.
Or Davis.
Davis.
Yeah. or Chauncey.
But not to stray too far from it as far as with Allen. Again, what is it that he has to prove to be able to get to the big chair? I don't think he has that. Or maybe they don't see him as someone with that fortitude. Because if you're walking around and coming in meetings and you're wearing a crucifix, I'm not saying he does this, but you're leading with that, and people know that you're someone who don't cuss. You're what I mean, you're mild mannered.
Right.
This game is dirty.
Right.
You got to be willing to roll up your sleeves and get dirty.
Yep. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? You got to be able to roll. You got to be able to go out there and be like, oh, look, Dolan, this is the talent that I found when I was on vacation.
Right.
That these guys are not looking at.
Right.
See what I'm saying? In that role, you have to get dirty. You have to, like, if you ever heard Toronto's general manager or president Ujiri, you ever heard of his story?
Yeah.
Man was sleeping in cars.
Yes.
Man was homeless.
Yes.
Holding on to whatever little NBA dream job, whatever little job he could get in, and just kept on, grinding. And next thing you know, he's on his second general manager term.
Yep. Team president, right?
Team president.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I think
is he that guy? Is Allen that guy? Is Allen
so.
willing to get dirty?
I think so.
Then why hasn't no one offered him a job in those roles?
Because he is a loyal Knick. Now, mind you, he has Detroit Pistons ties too, to Joe Dumars and them, right? To Scott Perry and them, right? I think did Scott Perry draft? No, Scott Perry may have been gone. Scott Perry may have been gone. Right?
Scott wasn't around when they drafted Allen.
Oh, Scott Perry in Orlando?
Scott might have still been coaching in college.
No, he might have been in Seattle.
No, not when Allen was playing. No, he might have been coaching in college still.
He may
not
have
when
been.
Allen was playing.
Okay.
Because Scott and Allen Scott's only a couple of years older than Allen, maybe.
No, Scott is 60 something. Let me see Scott Perry's age. I just want to make sure. Scott Perry. No, not that Scott Perry. They put some weird Scott Perry up here. Not that Scott.
Knicks general manager, whatever his title is, assistant general manager, whatever. I would have fired his ass. Cleaned out.
So Scott Perry is 59.
Okay.
Scott Perry is okay.
I think at that time he was coaching.
Yeah, Scott Perry as a coach. Yeah, okay. He was an assistant coach at Michigan.
Okay.
From 93 to 97. So the Allan Houston years he was at Michigan.
Yeah, he was coaching. Yeah. Scott has put his time in.
Yeah.
In different places, absolutely. But I would have fired his ass.
Yeah, hey man. I think, to be honest,
he would have not survived the new regime. I know that.
I think Scott Perry is probably the only person in this front office that's a professional front office person. The only person. Right?
Then what's Brock Eiler?
A capologist.
Okay.
An accountant.
Okay.
He knows basketball accounting. Brock Eiler can't talk to me about basketball on the floor. He can only talk to me about contracts, bro.
Then what's the cat that they brought in from Utah?
Walt Parent, a scout.
But he's top level scout, no?
He's got say.
I
You know,
wouldn't have kept him. I know that. Because he's another one of those people, you know. Remember
so
when they hired him, okay? Remember this.
I wanted him. I ain't gonna lie.
I wanted him too. I wanted someone that knew more than Mills.
Right.
Period. That had more, that actually had basketball relationships.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When they brought Perry in, they were having problems with KP. That's like that at the midway point. Problems with KP. Because remember, KP had walked out of the exit interview, or he didn't even show up. Went back to Latvia, wherever he's from, whatever. And okay. They go through a whole coaching process.
Right.
While the kid is in Latvia.
Right.
At no point did they reach out to him. The first person to reach out to him was who?
The new coach.
The new coach. The new coach takes his pretty wife
on a
7-day tour.
That lady is something above
Takes
pretty.
his fine ass wife to Latvia, whatever. And I remember time thinking, this is your crown jewel.
Yep.
You can't let him sit and stew. Him and his brother are concocting whatever they're concocting over there.
Right.
Fizdale goes over there. He gives them the, all right, coach, I'm not ready yet. Blah, 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 blah. Happy to see you. Da, 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 da. Then every few press conferences that Fizdale would have, his name would come up. Fizdale would say something. He would post something contradictory to what Fizdale said.
Because Fizdale was an idiot.
But this is on Perry's watch.
Right. And they should have had Allan Houston talk to him.
Okay. Another
you know why? No, here's why. Allan Houston knows something about being the cornerstone piece for the Knicks. Allan Houston knows something about having a devastating knee injury with the Knicks. Allan Houston knows something about an impending free agency, big contract situation with the Knicks. So why not use Allan Houston in that situation to be like, bruh, I know things are like all over the place. You know what I'm saying? You got a big contract coming up. You know what I'm saying? You injured. You don't have help. And Allan Houston has been in all these situations, right? As a Knick, right? Why not use Allan Houston in that place? And then plus, when it comes to talking to free agents, man, why am I sending agents to talk to cats when I can send a former player to talk to Knicks? You feel me? But like this thing is, my thing with Allan Houston is, first of all, every front office, every general manager and team president is going to have shortcomings. All of them, right? Are the shortcomings that Allan Houston has, are they that much, or are they that glaring where you can't even give him a look at general manager or team president or something? You feel me? Like, for instance, Scott Perry has blind spots. We all do. And for the money, I think Scott Perry is a great person. I read his motivational tweets on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? The dude is a great person, right? Right? But in terms of basketball, what has Scott Perry showed you?
What he's in?
Yeah. You gotta hit the gong first. Gong. And then get it. Yeah. Yeah, you gotta walk around without no shoes on.
Perry.
Yeah.
Yoga instructor.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is this. Think about all the team presidents and general managers that you've seen the Knicks have. All of them have blind spots, right? So why not? Human beings are going to have blind spots. Why not give Allan Houston a chance?
Because from all of what you just said, okay, let me ask you this question, right? I give you a job in the house. You got his job.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Do I got to tell you how to move?
No.
Okay. It's that simple. Do I got to tell you how to move? No. Why should I have to tell you how to move?
You shouldn't.
You're in the house.
Right.
Whatever those guys at the top are telling Dolan, okay, if I've been here longer, and even though I'm not in that position or whatever, guess what? I'm still doing the work. Because if that's my ambition, okay, if that's my ambition, then I got to show this dude that I can do this. That, you know what? I spoke to Chris Paul. He's ready. I did that.
Right.
You sitting around, you know, I only need but so many good company men. Okay? Get me the young and hungry. Get me the old and unsatisfied. Don't give me these company guys that every time I make a joke, they laughing harder than me, or harder than a joke. You know what I'm saying? I make a dumbass joke, and all these guys is like, I know I was funny, you know. I know the joke was funny and all, but
right, man,
why are you on the floor?
Right.
And you only need but so many of those guys. Like I said, you need the hunger, you need the passionate.
Right.
20 plus years in the same organization, and you've only gone left to right.
Right.
I need to understand, why is that? You good with that? Okay, if you fine with that, I'm fine where you at.
Right.
So I'm not going to cry for Allan Houston, the executive.
Okay.
Now, if you want to say Allan Houston, the player, did enough to be considered, I'm there with you all day. But that was 20 plus years ago.
I think Allan Houston, the executive, has put in enough time, bro.
No, I'm not giving. Yeah. I'm not even interviewing him.
Yes, because here's the thing. How do you pass up on Allan Houston but bring in Worldwide West? Can you justify that?
He came as a package deal.
Right.
You don't get me, you don't get my man. You don't get my man, you don't get me.
What has his man brought though to the table?
That's a whole nother story.
Right. That's what I mean.
Because obviously, whatever conversations that Dolan was having with Leon, it didn't just spring up overnight.
Understood.
He's had these CAA relationships. We've documented this for 20 plus years. For some particular reason, whatever they know where the bodies are buried.
Right.
Because he's had this relationship with them for 20 plus years. And let me officially say this to him and to the Knicks organization. If I never said it before, divest yourself from this relationship. It has not bore any fruit.
Bro, they made us sign Chris Smith. You remember that? They made us trade for Bargnani instead of Greg Monroe. Now, at the time,
that's not saying much. You're really not saying much right there.
But listen, it had me piping hot at the time, right? Revisionist history, though. I'm like Greg Monroe, Bargnani, they all the same.
I never liked Greg Monroe.
You know what I'm saying? But
pockets to the same pants.
Yeah, I know. But the thing is, the Knicks wanted Greg Monroe, right?
Yes.
And Leon Rose was like, nah, I can't see Greg Monroe in New York, but we'll work out a deal to get you Bargnani, though. A first 2 seconds can be back to the team that drafted him. Quentin Richardson and
Canby was only in that deal because of the contract. Yeah, because Canby was, remember, he only signed a 1-year deal with us. He didn't even play. I think he got hurt within the first 25 games. Yeah. He was already washed.
Yeah.
Him and Rasheed Wallace their
Rashid
impacts,
ball for us though.
their
Rashid ball.
impacts are different because
Yeah.
Rashid only played like 25 games as well.
But he
But
played the first 25 and missed the rest of
yes,
the season.
he missed the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Rashid gave us that. Remember, the Knicks were doing this.
Yes, with Sheed. Yes.
Three to the head. Right?
Yeah.
He gave the Knicks a certain kind of attitude
Right.
that they had been missing since the 90s.
Yeah.
But he too was washed. He was
Yeah.
37. Right? But I understand why they did it. They got all these guys are veterans and let's make this run, blah,
Right.
blah, blah, blah.
Right.
In theory, it made sense.
In
And it
theory,
was
it made
working.
sense.
It was working out until
people start dropping like flies.
no, until the coach got amnesia. Because if you remember look, I would have never hired Woody back.
Right.
You understand? Let's
Right.
just make this clear.
Right. Right.
Let's just make this clear. The Knicks won 14 straight games heading into the playoffs.
Right.
Took the first 3 from Boston.
Yep.
They decided to start wearing all black, their funeral robes or whatever. Come back in, lose the next 2 games. Ray Felt is shook in game 6.
Yep.
They're up 24 in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Boston comes back to down by 2.
Yep.
Ray Felt can't bring up the ball.
Yep.
Melo has to then go all the way down, bring up the ball, all the way up, hit threes
Right.
to ice the game.
Yep.
We go into Indiana. And I'm going to put these guys on blast because they were arguing with me at the time about this. My 2 idiot cousins. Not idiots overall, but idiots for this particular situation.
For the subject, yeah. Yeah.
They had Kenyon Martin, who they had signed somewhere around February or something like that, right? Yeah. Kenyon Martin's playing good, playing decent role, whatever. Yeah. Remember, in that stretch of great ball,
Kenyon Martin was coming off an injury. He sat out with a free. They bring him in. He looks fresh. You know what I'm saying?
They're sitting. They were playing that 3-guard lineup with Prigioni, Kidd. Ray Felt was having like a borderline resurgence of a decent whatever. They were killing people with that 3 with J.R. Smith with that 4-guard lineup. They're killing people with that. Yeah. Game 1, I can't remember who was hurt or whatever. He lets Kenyon Martin politic his way into the starting lineup.
Yeah.
Game 1 in Madison Square Garden. Oh, my bad. Shumpert was also a part of that. So that 5-man situation, that guard situation, other than Melo, was what had projected them because Prigioni was an extremely heady player. Kidd, we know what Kidd did. Yeah. For Melo that season. Why in God's name would you put Kenyon Martin into a lineup where he was only a bit player off the bench? Why would you, why would you disturb the groove?
Right.
They could never rebound from that. I would have never let Woody back into this building.
Never. Right.
You understand? I've never let him back into this building.
Well, Woody, the Butch Carters, the Larry Drews, the Mike Woodsons, the Dwayne Casey's, bro, they are all the same. The Paul Silas's, they are all the same style coach, bro. They're all the same style coach. You know what I mean? And when against that Indiana team who had length at every position, Paul George was there starting 2 at 6'8", right? Danny Granger, David West, Roy Hibbert, Lance Stevenson off the bench.
The Knicks were the number 2 seed.
I know.
Indiana was the number 4, 5 seed.
Something
like that.
Something. Did they have Rodney Stuckey then?
I think so.
Coming out of Detroit, yeah.
But that game 1 was where they lost the series. They then win game 2. They then lose the next 2, come back to the Garden, win 1,
Right.
or then they
And
won.
Tyson Chandler is hurt.
And Tyson, he's not
he's hurt
only hurt, I
again.
think he has the flu or
Yep.
something like that.
Yep.
He
Yep.
has some like 100 and whatever temperature
Yep.
feel, and he guts it out. Plays. My cousin still kills him because Roy Hibbert dominated him.
Tyson Chandler was hurt. I mean, it's a miracle he played.
Yes, because I remember he had a severe flu. I remember that he was very sick, but he gutted it out. And Roy Hibbert, catches Melo at the rim.
Yeah.
And we're done. I'm not saying that team would have won a championship, Woody. I'm talking directly to you and folks who supported Woody, right? But what that team deserved to meet Miami in the Eastern Conference Finals.
So that Miami can gentlemen sweep us. I understand.
That's fine.
But we would have been
there with at least a hope. Not to have it die in Indiana. Right. See what I'm saying? The Indiana was not a better team than the Knicks.
No.
Woody coached down in that. It just didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, you had the hottest team going into the playoffs. You'd won 17 straight games, including the 3 in Boston, like I said. So, but enough with Woody. Enough.
Allan Houston would have never allowed that to happen. Allan Houston would have never allowed that to happen. I'm pounding the table for Allan Houston, bro. I want Allan Houston.
I think I want Allan fired now from all this conversation. Like, Allan, why are you here,
man?
What have you added? Let's do this, Allan.
Now let's. I'm willing to remove Allan Houston for the chopping block and lay myself down on chopping block for Allan Houston. I'm willing to take the consequences for Allan Houston, bro. Because we had too many people that come. Bro, come on, Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson gets a chance, bro.
The trouble I've seen.
Come on, Danny Walsh. Donnie Walsh.
What?
Donnie Walsh.
Freezy, you on these airwaves have spoke about business and the things you had to do to survive in business, to progress in business.
Right.
You talking out of 2 sides of your mouth now, my guy. I can't with Allan. Can't.
The thing, but the thing is think about this. What did Donnie Walsh do as the man of the Knicks that impressed you?
Nothing,
right?
Nothing.
But we look back in history as if he may have been the best team president we ever had. I'm saying.
Yo, I dubbed him Geriatric Walsh.
Jerry.
They rolled that man in a meeting with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh in a fucking wheelchair.
Yes. And look, and not like that.
No, I'm not disrespecting people who are handicapped.
Right.
Okay. But look at the optics.
The optics of it.
You got 23, 24, 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he
game changer.
And he in the meeting, not with a, hey, I hurt my ankle, I just need to get from point A to point B. He in the motorized joint, like, yeah, I woke up and had to get straight in it. You know what I'm saying? Donnie Walsh. He's in
the meeting, and I remember someone wrote something about it. They're asking, well, Donnie, how you feeling? How's everything going? Like, how you doing? You trying to bring in the next millennium,
the future of the NBA.
Future, and you here walking in with Grandpa Monster.
Oh,
at least Grandpa Monster was still vibrant.
Yes.
You can't make these things up.
You can't, bro.
You cannot make these things up.
Allan Houston would have had all 3 of them dudes sign with the Knicks.
You know what? I may agree with you, because Allan Houston probably had a prayer meeting. You know, he opened a little Bible study.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm
John
not.
1:1.
Yeah. Yeah.
It gave you
I,
something. It
I'm
gave
not
you
saying.
something better than that.
See, because think about the alternatives, right? Think of Donnie Walsh. He in there looking like he 152 years old, right? Oh, Phil Jackson. He in the meeting sleep.
They found the man on a bus. They found the man in a New York City bus. He was sleeping on the bus.
Sleeping
Somebody
on
took a picture of
There
him
was a
sleeping on
I
the
saw the
bus.
picture. This dude fell asleep on the bus. Yeah, and okay. So without them two, then you have Steve Mills, a dude that may be the smartest individual the Knicks have ever hired, right? But he don't have social skills. He don't have social skills. Steve Mills can't even talk to you. Steve Mills is like he trying to talk to me and AD on some type of intellectual level. Bro, I'm just a regular dude. Can we just talk basketball?
The Knicks hired that man 3 times.
Yeah. You know
Well,
he still
I
works
should
for
say
the Knicks, right?
Garden. The Garden hired that man.
Yes,
3
he's
times.
still a Garden employee.
Yeah. He was Garden president.
Yep.
First.
Yeah.
Then he was Knicks president.
Right.
No. Then he was Phil's supposedly right-hand man.
Right. Special assistant to the team
right?
president. Yep.
Then when they fired Phil, they gave him the big chair again.
Yep.
Faux.
Yep.
In the vernacular of the great Moses Malone, faux. Not faux. Okay.
Moses, you have a great team, man. How do you feel? What are the things going?
Faux. But can't make that up. Shout out. Rest in peace to the great.
But Steve Mills, for his supposed IQ or whatever his IQ is, the dude is a smart dude. I don't want to take nothing away from him, right? Dude went to Princeton.
I don't know. You ever spoke to him?
Yeah. No, because he sounds like Mickey Rivers. Yo, he can't talk to us. He talked like Mickey Rivers, bro.
He sound like Shannon Sharp. Yo, hold on a second. Did you catch that? Shannon Sharp trying to fight the Memphis team?
Yeah.
And Josh Daddy?
Yeah.
Yo.
Sticking up for his friend, LeBron.
Here's my thing with that. Okay. You showed more dog in you, right? After a couple of drinks on the sideline of an NBA game than you did for your own NFL brethren who almost lost his life on the field when your idiot co-host made some really disgusting remarks. Where was that dog then?
Where was it?
Where was that smoke then?
Right.
You couldn't even show up to work the next day.
Yeah.
Okay, but on TV,
but he works for Skip, bro. That's why. That's one of the they argue on TV, but don't get it twisted. Shannon Sharp is a Skip Bayless employee. Okay. Don't get it twisted. You know that show that they do.
Boss.
Yeah. Don't get it twisted. It's like right. It's like don't get it twisted. When Russo do that thing with Stephen A. Smith, no matter he could scream all he want, but First Take is a Stephen A. Smith entity, right? Don't.
This is why I don't watch these people on their shows. I just happen to catch that clip on YouTube.
Right.
And I get it. You're a football player. They're basketball players. You felt they disrespected you or whatever. But where was that same energy?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. And it made for good TV.
Right.
You know, because it was funny.
Shannon Sharp is a celebrity.
You know what? But for some of the remarks that were made from his football brethren, I think a lot of them were disappointed in him.
Right.
A lot of them was really disappointed in him.
Taste out his mouth.
Not only
I don't advocate for violence, bro, but come on.
But these are some things that you have to draw a line for, I believe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That money can't replace that.
I think Skip said something to Shannon after the show about maybe him crossing the line and all of that stuff, but they'll never say that when the camera is on. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to draw attention today. They've been sliding in the rankings, so they had to say do something to stop from getting canceled. You know what I'm saying? But
There's
it legit for that morning space, you know, I
if
think at
we
one
gotta
point,
come up if we gotta come up with bullshit, right, to
right,
entertain the people,
right,
you don't have to send me the link on Sunday mornings anymore because I already know what it is for you.
right.
You already
I
know
ain't
what
doing
it
that.
is for me.
Right,
If
I
we
ain't
gotta
doing that.
if we gotta do that,
Yeah, but they got sponsors and obligations though. You know what I'm
you're
saying?
right. You're
So
right. You're right
I
about
mean,
that.
I mean, think about this. Think about this. Me and you don't have any topics, but we getting like for this 2 hours, we getting like 13 G's a piece. You know what I'm saying? For 2 hours, I'm pretty certain you would be here early for them 13 G's.
I'd be
You
on
know what I'm saying?
time.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I'd have dancers in the background. It'd be 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, both of us would be in here Sunday morning with suits on for 13 G's a
Crazy.
piece for
Stop
2 hours.
playing.
Yeah.
This would look like the Playboy Mansion back in the days. Are you
Feel me?
kidding me?
Feel me? You know what I'm
live,
saying?
live from the squeeze out.
Right.
That's what we doing. But you're right. I
Right.
mean, you're right. But there's just some things that I
He
think
crossed the line.
you cross the line, and money
Yeah.
can't, money can't do that for you.
He crossed the line, but
You cross the line.
but AD, they went from point 0.8 in their market share. Think about it, point 0.8. That's barely having a
That's
pulse to
yeah,
point 0.4, right?
yeah,
But now we're talking about skipping Shannon. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
so I agree with you. I think it was disgusting.
I think it,
I think it was disgusting, but they did something radical, and I don't think Shannon liked it. But Shannon has to look at his mortality. Is he going to get another show? Based on how ESPN views Shannon Sharp, this is it for Shannon Sharp.
mm,
He'll be doing Club Shay Shay, like how I'm doing Lawrence Tears. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? So
That
but
could
let's
be a
get to
better
the
route.
Porzingis
Yes.
thing. Let's get
Oh,
to the Porzingis thing.
yes. KP.
Um, I really want KP back.
Okay. Please enlighten us, as to why you want Kristaps Porzingis back. Oh, by the way, he got hurt last night,
Of course.
which is what he does.
Right.
Gets hurt. So you
Yeah.
want somebody that you have to constantly paying a medical bill on.
Yeah.
Okay. Please enlighten us.
Mitchell Robinson's hurt, right?
I'm already on record with Mitch.
You're on record.
Okay. I'm already on record with Mitch.
Oh,
Okay. Let's
oh,
just
do
keep it.
tell.
Let's just, I'm already on record when I hate pulling out the receipts, but I'm getting like everybody else. I'm holding on the receipts. I'm already on record with Mitch. I like Mitch. I like the growth, whatever. I'm not going to go there with him, but I'm going to go back to Porzingis. A man, has he ever averaged 8 consecutive rebounds consecutive seasons of at least 8 rebounds? Ever?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay. We're fighting for Mitch to get double-digit rebounds. And
Right.
you want to bring him back into the fold? I need to understand why. Please, the floor is yours.
I just like him. I just like him, bro. I don't have a rhyme or reason. And I would venture to say, thank you, boss lady. Oh, black cherry. Okay. All right. I would venture to say, I'm gonna say this, and it's gonna sound crazy. I'm gonna say it anyway. I think Kristaps Porzingis is better than Ralph Sampson. And Ralph Sampson
You think
and
Kristaps
Ralph
Porzingis?
Sampson.
All right, fine. But so you want him back because he's better than Dead Legs Ralph. Ralph had like what, 3 good NBA seasons,
One
maybe.
one good season.
Okay, I'm gonna give him 3. You're giving him 1,
I'm giving him
and you
one.
want him back because he's better than Ralph.
Yeah.
This is what we've come to, Knicks family. For those of you who are diehard Knicks
Or two
fans from way
seasons,
back
two good
when,
seasons with the
2
Rockets.
good seasons. He wants Kristaps Porzingis back because he thinks he's better than Ralph Sampson. Okay,
Yes.
how do you argue with that kind of logic? Exactly. How do you argue that? Not that he's a good player, not that he's a piece to build to help build a championship. Things went wrong. He's better than Ralph. When
Right.
when if I knew you were gonna focus on the Washington area, I would have thought you'd have said, well, the Knicks need to go out and try and find Kuzma.
No.
Are you
No.
serious?
No.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Kuzma at the wing right now?
Who is he gonna replace?
Say it. Say it. Say it.
No, I ain't saying that. That's
Say
not
it.
my point. No.
You know he better than RJ. Say it.
Nah, man. He ain't better than Kyle
Say it.
Kuzma. Kyle
Say it.
Kuzma.
Say it.
Come on,
Put
bro.
Kuzma on the wing right now. Put Kuzma on the wing right now.
He's not gonna see. It's not a him better than RJ thing. It's a
Kuzma,
him.
Brunson, Grimes.
That's what you're gonna that because if the Knicks get
I'm asking you.
Kyle
Kuzma,
Kuzma,
Brunson, Grimes.
Grimes going to the bench.
No. I'm saying that is your small forward, point guard, shooting guard. You don't like that?
What is it?
Kuzma, Brunson, Grimes.
I could see that. I might be able to work with that.
I know you would. So that's why I mentioned it. Notice who's not in that. Notice who's not in that. Is that Hoodie Kev? Salute. Hoodie Kev.
Let's go Jets. Let's go Jets. I need the Jets to sign Aaron Rodgers right away.
Wow.
Or acquire Aaron
Why
Rodgers
do we
right
gotta
away.
do this? Salute to the Giant fans. Hey. How was that? How was that Philly experience last night? Oh my God. I think Philly's still scoring. I think Philly scored again.
Uncle Freezy, the Giants defense is
I'm
gonna
on
be.
chat. I'm on the chat with all of my, my dearest friends and family and so forth. And I gave them a little pep talk early this morning. I said, well, you guys had a good season, and I put it in a little caption, in my Frank Sinatra voice, whatever. It did not go over well.
Right.
They are very upset. Some of them, kept their composure and so forth and so forth.
Right.
But when you make the playoffs, it's always a good thing to make the playoffs. So salute to Giant fans. I'm always going to kick you when you're down because it's down.
Fun.
I'm down. I'm a Jet fan. I'm down. So come join me. Come join me in this misery.
The Giants lost 38-7. Oh wow.
It's ugly. Hurts. Yo, that boy's bad. Their defense is bad. I'm always going to pick KC because I just think Mahomes is the best quarterback I've ever seen play.
Yeah.
I'm always going to pick KC, but between whoever, whether it's KC, whether it's Cincinnati with Joe B, Joe Burrow said something last week that if the Knicks could just have players like this, they said something about the window of opportunity closing.
Right.
For Cincinnati. Joe B was like, what? Whenever I'm As long as I'm here, there's always going to be a window
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Right.
Done.
Bro, that's what I'm trying to tell Jets fans. Jets fans are like, no, just give me a ham sandwich at quarterback. Just give me Garoppolo or David Carr and we can win the Super
Ham
Bowl.
sandwich.
No,
Ham
ham
sandwich.
sandwiches.
Give me Lamar
Ham.
Jackson. Okay? Give me Lamar Jackson. Find a
Lamar
way.
freaking Jackson
Give me
right
Lamar
now.
freaking. I don't give a damn. Well, he's injured. Like, hello? Hello? Am I Herm Edwards? Hello?
Hello.
This is football.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Anybody at any time can be carted off for the season.
Look at Mahomes last night.
Okay. Anybody at any time can be carted off. So
Right.
miss me with all of that.
Right.
You haven't had a superstar like this. Wait for it. Since Joe Namath.
Since Joe Willie Namath.
Since Joe Willie Namath.
Everybody got on a starter jacket on the sideline to stay warm. Joe Willie got on a mink coat.
Long length. Not the 3/4.
Not the 3/4. Nah.
You know what I'm saying? No.
Nah.
Full.
Nah.
Down to the ankle.
Joe Namath owned
Superstar.
a nightclub. Joe Namath owned a nightclub that used to have a drunk Yankee in the back. Used to play center field, Hall of Famer. You can go in Joe Namath's nightclub, and Mickey Mantle would be in the back of that club, pissy drunk. Him and a dude named Whitey Ford.
I think the club was called Bachelor 3. Bachelor 3 was
Right.
Somebody in the chat. I'm almost certain that was the name of the club.
You could
Bachelor 3.
You could go into the club. You could go into that club, and on any given night, you could see Muhammad Ali, Mickey Mantle, Frank Sinatra. Are you kidding?
Well, see, that was the times back then. Stars, for the most part, had a foot in the community.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they still knew where the good place to get the macaroni and cheese was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When Ali wins the title, he's not out on the town. He's eating ice cream at this all-black hotel with his peoples from the community.
Right.
The difference is today, a star comes in the community, he better have on his stopwatch.
Yes.
He better have on his stopwatch. As what?
Right.
We got 5 minutes.
Yep.
7 tops.
Yep.
Why?
And 30 seconds before that mark, I'm headed to the car.
And headed to
Because at 5 minutes, I'm burning rubber. You know what I'm saying? But some Jets fans are like, nah, I don't need a star QB. Just give me a ham sandwich. I want a ham sandwich at quarterback because Sauce Gardner is going to do everything for us.
Yes.
Okay.
And play quarterback.
He
going to do everything. Play quarterback, running back, defensive tackle. He's going to do all of that.
Right.
You can't dream the impossible. I'm on Jet Chats, right? And I know Knicks fans, bear with me. Where you'll see these people literally are talking about, again, and I'm almost feeling like they're Knicks fans. They're so afraid to make the step forward. They're so afraid to make a significant trade.
Right.
They'd rather sit there with draft capital up the wazoo,
right?
Because
the uniforms are pretty.
Because Lamar Jackson, you can just draft Lamar Jacksons every year.
No, you can't.
Okay,
you can't.
If that was the case, you wouldn't have a kid that you now looking for a new home. That was the overall number 2 pick 2 years ago.
Only the Jets draft a quarterback. You only hear of them the year they get drafted. No pedigree. No pedigree, right?
No.
They just, such and such threw for 500 yards in the Senior Bowl. Oh, we got to draft him and give him a lifetime contract. That's the Jets.
And not only
You
that,
remember Richard Todd?
oh my God, I was talking about him this week.
Richard Todd.
Yeah, I was talking about him this week.
Right.
They drafted him just because. Let's stay with Todd for a second. They drafted him just because. Wait for it.
He went to Alabama.
He went to Alabama, like Joe Willie Namath, and was a first-round pick, like Joe Willie Namath. They drafted him totally because they figured they went there once.
They can catch lightning in a bottle.
And catch lightning in a bottle again.
Right.
Not saying that this man would throw an interception in a telephone booth.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
This man could throw an interception in a telephone booth.
And the Jets waste wide receivers, bro. They get wide receivers and waste them. Bro, think about this. As long as we've been watching football, who has had more talented wide receivers than the Jets consistently over 50 years?
Well, they've had talented wide receivers, but the most talent, I mean, you had San Fran, the greatest show on turf, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt. I mean, wide receivers are, I never want to knock them or belittle them or whatever, but there's been so many great wide receivers and so many teams that have missed on wide receivers. Remember, Detroit drafted a wide receiver in the top 10 picks 3 years in a row.
Yep. You want me to name them? Call Charles Rogers.
1.
Roy Williams.
2.
And because they actually did it 4 years in a row.
I think they drafted another Williams. Oh my God. Was it Mike Williams?
Mike Williams, the big fat wide receiver they got.
Yeah,
Mike
I think
Williams
it might have been Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. And then after that, the 4th year in a row, they drafted Calvin Johnson.
And they drafted right.
Yeah, so they got it right eventually. Right.
How do you win with someone who has that kind of philosophy?
Right.
You just can't.
Right.
But with the Richard Todd, with the Jets at that time, oh gosh, they've lost, and I made this remark earlier this week. They've lost every which way a team can lose.
Right.
In my lifetime.
Right.
You want a last-minute field goal? They've lost that. You want them to miss last minute? However you want it.
Championship game.
Back-to-back
AFC Championship game, their kicker forgets how to do the one thing he was signed to the roster to do.
Back-to-back years.
Yeah.
But that's football for you. Like I said again, shout out to my Giant fans and so forth. You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't worry, next year we'll be here soon enough. Yeah. Soon enough, Kevin. Soon enough.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Jets fans, the reason why I say the Jets have a wide receiver legacy is because when you look back over time, bro, at one time, you remember Wesley Walls? Wesley Walls was the
Wesley
man,
Walker.
Bro. Wesley Walker, that's his name. Wesley Walker. I'm sorry.
Right.
Wesley Walker, bro. Jeez, man.
But what's a wide receiver without a quarterback?
That is the point that I'm getting at.
What's a wide receiver without a quarterback?
That's the point that I'm getting at.
See what I'm saying? You could be and we've seen some great all-world physically talented wide receivers that have had bum-ass quarterbacks.
Like Wesley Walker.
Yeah.
Wesley Walker only played a handful of years, right? Wesley Walker played
10. I think he played 10
or 12 seasons. And during that time, the dead football era, right? Wesley Walker scored 71 touchdowns for the Jets.
Yes.
71 touchdowns.
Yes.
In a league that ran the football. Bro, you remember his running back's name was Freeman McNeil.
Mm-hmm.
right? Freeman McNeil. And then they brought in another guy named Al Toon to
Right.
play with him.
A couple of years later, they brought in Al.
Al Toon, and his football historians will acknowledge this. Al Toon could have been a better wide receiver than Jerry Rice, right?
I'm a Jet fan. I wouldn't go in there. I wouldn't say.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. All right. So let me say this. Let me.
He was drafted higher than Jerry.
Yes.
He was drafted, I think, 8 overall.
Yes.
Because he was a monster in college.
Al Toon had better hands and better speed than Jerry Rice coming out of college. It's why Jerry Rice fell down the draft board. Not saying that nobody knew Jerry Rice was going to be. Nobody knew Jerry Rice was going to be the GOAT.
But that draft class was crazy because you remember Eddie Brown is in that draft class.
Yes, yeah,
from Cincinnati.
Eddie Brown.
That's Eddie Brown is in that draft class who had a good career as well.
Yeah,
you know what they
he had
did
a son that played in the NFL too.
I think so. Yeah.
You know who his son is, right? Antonio Brown.
Are you serious?
Yep, that is Eddie Brown's son.
No.
Yes.
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Wow.
That's his son.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And both of them jokers are absolutely crazy. When I see Antonio Brown, I see Fast Eddie Brown. Crazy.
My God, that man.
And Fast Eddie Brown was on one side of the field. Guess who was on the other side of the field from Fast Eddie Brown? Chris Collinsworth. Right.
Yep. Yeah. People don't remember that. Chris Collinsworth I think he was all pro.
Yeah, he was nice.
He was good. He was
Chris nice. But when you're a slot like receiver, bro, you're gonna take a punishment in this league, bro. You're gonna take back then, you're gonna take a punishment in the NFL. Right?
Especially if you don't have that guy. The quarterback, it always was and it always will be, even in the era of the running back.
Yep.
Think about this. Eric Dickerson has 4,000 yards in his first 2 seasons in the NFL.
Yep.
Or just about 4,000 yards in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. Look who his quarterback was. I think his quarterback was Vince Ferragamo.
The first year.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
What he had was a great line, Jackie Slater and all of them.
Yep.
Right? They made it to the playoffs with him because they just gave him the ball left, right, center, up and down, whatever, but they didn't have a quarterback.
Right.
Didn't have a quarterback without a
quarterback.
No,
the first year. The second year, they were trying to break in a quarterback named Jim Everett.
Right. And they were bringing in Everett.
Yep.
Okay.
And the receivers were Henry Ellard and Flipper Anderson.
Right.
And how do you not win a Super?
He was unhappy.
So they had Henry Ellard, James Lofton, Flipper Anderson, Eric Dickerson, and you don't win the Super. You don't even. You don't get to the Chicago Bears.
You don't get to the NFC Championship game.
Huh?
You don't get to the NFC Championship game.
No.
Because Everett became a better player when they traded him. When they traded Dickerson, that's when, if you notice in Jim Everett's career, I think he had like at least 4 years of 30 plus touchdowns.
Yeah.
And this is the same Jim Everett that slapped up Jim Rome that night on TV when he called him Chris Everett.
Yeah.
When he called him Chris Everett.
Would you say? You remember that? Would you call me?
Would you call me? I bet you won't call me that again.
Yeah.
He says, I bet I will.
Yeah.
To Jim Rome's credit, Jim Rome goes, I bet I will.
Yeah.
And then 2 seconds later, there was like an eerie pause because Jim was cocked.
Right.
Like ready to, and he went, Chris. And Jim jumped up and knocked over that table and got on top of him and grabbed him up. Yo, that was on live TV.
Yes, live
TV.
Just real quick, just to satisfy my pettiness. What is more impressive to you, that moment or the moment Wendy Williams called Jay-Z the gay rapper? Wendy Williams said that, and I swear, and this is radio, y'all, you can hear the hand slicing through the air.
I think she's had more impressive. Well, and I wasn't a fan of hers, and I'm not a fan. But I think that Everett was more impressive because you could see it.
Yes.
You could see it. It was because he had been riding Jim Everett for like 2 years.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
been riding
Yeah.
this dude, and he's like a early shock TV
Oh,
person,
Puffy. That's right. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
right? He was way before Skip Bayless and that, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever. And Jim just was like, "Yo, I'm telling you, if you call me that name here tonight, there's gonna be some furniture moving up in here."
Yes.
Okay, and there was some furniture moving up in there.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was the beauty about TV, because now you never got there. You
No.
never got to that point.
No. No.
Yeah, you never got to that point.
That
And
is
he,
when TV.
yeah, as when TV was TV, and Everett was just one of those guys that he had a good career, but he was one of those quarterbacks for that era. Big, I think he's like 6'5", big arm, but he
Yep.
couldn't move.
Yep.
Couldn't
Yep.
move, and that's what you had back then. Big arm, could throw it a country mile, couldn't move, and white.
Right.
Those were the
Blonde hair. Everything.
those were the common denominators.
Yeah.
And if you had it, it took, even, mind you, Warren Moon played in this era.
Right.
Okay, Warren Moon played in this era. Warren Moon had to go to Canada for like 4 years. No, 5, because he won 5 Grey Cups in Canada.
Yep.
He had to go there, play there 5 years. Okay, I once heard Warren Moon say that, like during like the combines, or they wasn't really combines back then, right? But when they come and test you out, whatever, he was like, yo, he purposely did not run as fast as he could run.
Yep.
For fear of them thinking they're gonna make him into a wide receiver or running back.
Or defense. I heard defensive back.
Yep. Or DB.
Yep. Yep.
He said, "Nah, I'm a quarterback."
Yep.
And he purposely took the number 1.
Yep. Yep.
Right? Because I'm the guy.
And when he was a free agent coming out of Canada, when he was a free agent,
everybody could sign him.
Anybody could sign him, right?
Yep.
And the Jets, the Falcons, the Houston Oilers all needed quarterbacks. And the Jets decided to go with a combo of Ken O'Brien and Pat Ryan.
It just didn't make sense.
There's
just things that, and like I said, I've been a fan of the organization for 40 years. Right. I originally started, and I still have a feelings for them, the Cowboys. And I say this all the time. The Cowboys in the 70s, that they were it.
Bro.
They were it. Even though they didn't win all them championships, whatever. Right. The way how they marketed themselves versus how Pittsburgh marketed themselves.
Yeah.
It's like a whole different thing. The Cowboys were
it. One was Hollywood and the other was mom and pop.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what it. And throughout that, there were other teams that were just as good as the Cowboys and the Steelers, the Vikings, the Oakland Raiders were all just as good as the Cowboys. The Redskins, the Redskins finished in second place in that division so many years. It's criminal, right? With Billy Kilmer and all of them, right? But the Jets, bro. All I'm gonna say that because I want to get back to the KP thing before we get out of here, but the Jets, for Jets fans to say we need to go out and get us a veteran running back and a ham sandwich quarterback, they are crazy, bro.
That's just who they've been
forever.
That's just who they've been. And I say this with them, the Knicks, and in sports in general. If you don't have somebody at the top that says, you don't have anybody that says, this is where we're going, right, and this is how we're going to get there. If you don't have somebody at the top that says this is our exodus moment, you don't have anybody.
Right.
You don't have, you need a visionary. And you need a visionary that's able, to adapt on the fly if necessary.
Right.
Because that's what a visionary does. A visionary can see, the pitfalls, can see the ebbs and flows. If you don't have that kind of person in your organization,
right. Then
you're
what do you
doomed for
have?
failure.
What do you
Then
have
what do you
really?
have?
Right.
You have a bunch of Allan Houstons.
No.
Sorry.
No,
You got a
man.
bunch of company guys.
So Kristaps Porzingis, if you watching, come on, man.
Come
Come
home.
on, man. Come on, man.
Kristaps, come home.
Yeah, man.
It's all good. Everything is forgiven.
Everything is forgiven. He had to grow up. He had to become a man. He a man now.
He a
Before
man,
when he was here, he was letting his brother run the show. His
he's a
two
man now,
brothers.
but he's an okay player.
I'm okay with 23 and 7 rebounds from the center position. Especially if we can play him at the 4 and not the 5.
Okay. But you can't. A player like that, is he your centerpiece? Is that what you're saying? Is he
No,
your
he's
number?
not.
Is he your
He's
what? Your number 2, number 3?
nah. He's probably number 2 type player, right?
I don't see it. I think you
Because
let that. I think you let
him
that rock.
him as a number 3, you wasting talent. Now you wasting talent.
Yeah, but he's not forceful enough. You can't depend on him. You see, we need to really look at what happened in Dallas when he was the clear number 2 guy. What happened there?
Probably,
No, this is before. Hold on. When they made that trade, when they made that trade, they wasn't thinking about Brunson. I think Brunson Brunson wasn't even on the team yet when they made that trade.
Yes, he was.
No, not when they first got KP. Yeah. Brunson comes on after.
No, Brunson was drafted in the same draft as Frank. He was a second round pick in the Frank draft.
Okay.
And think about it. Frank and KP played together for 1 year.
But they weren't thinking about Brunson. Because remember, they still had the point guard they drafted out of that we eventually got for KP. Dennis Smith Jr. They weren't thinking about they were thinking, wow, we got the makings of
the dynamic duo.
With him and Luka. And what happened in that situation needs to be addressed. Okay, what happened here?
Right.
This should have been better than what it was. You ended up trading him for D. Wendell.
Right. Dinwiddie.
I always call him D. Wendell. I was calling
him Dinwiddie. But yeah, man. So excuse me, Porzingis is definitely a piece. I don't know who you replaced, Randall or Mitch, but I could see life after both. I like Randall, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I like him way better than Porzingis.
Oh, well, okay. Well, there it is then.
I like him way better than Porzingis because the one thing that you can say for Julius Randle since his first season, that boy's been a tank.
Right.
Since his first season, that boy's been a tank.
He's tough, bro.
He's been a tank. There's no way I'm gonna trade for a certainty for an uncertainty.
Okay. Especially when Randall's numbers are better. I got it. I got you.
All the way around.
I got you.
Yeah.
No, I know. I get it.
So I wish him well. What could have been.
Right.
And you've heard me say this. Knicks fans have heard me say this on these airwaves. And you're gonna see this with this young man that's gonna get drafted at 7'4". It's not natural to move
like that
and 7'4". To expect for guys that big, like this African brother that they're talking about now, who's like 7'11".
Right.
He don't even have to jump. He just raises his hands. His hands are over the rim. Boom.
Just dunk it. Yeah. but he can't even walk. He too slow.
Okay, but they're making him, but him, like the young man that's gonna be coming out, in the draft this year, was 7'4". They're talking about him to be a point guard.
Yeah, he can handle, bro. He
He
can
can
handle.
handle. Don't get me wrong, he can handle, but it's not natural for people that big to cut and move like
Right.
someone half their size.
Yeah, I understand.
You have to, you really got to be diligent on their physical, not even their mental growth as much. Yes, it should go like this, but their physical growth.
Right.
Because the moment they get that first fracture,
That's it. Yo, let me just real quick for revisionist history. What I want to do is this. I want to shoot the Portland Trailblazers some bail, right? And the reason why I want to shoot them some bail is because Sam Bowie was doing these same things at Kentucky and as a high school player. That's how he ended up at the University of Kentucky. You don't go to Kentucky just because you big, right? Sam Bowie was doing stuff as a freshman and a sophomore at Kentucky. You're like, yo, this dude is doing guard stuff. And now, mind you, Sam Bowie wasn't just skinny. Sam Bowie was about 235 ish.
240, 240,
Yeah, 240 ish.
Right.
Yeah. Remember, Kareem played his entire career at 225.
Right.
Right. Sam Bowie was coming in at 235, 240, grabbing rebounds, dribbling, not shooting the three, but having a money mid-range shot that probably could have expanded to the three, which back then, to see a center shoot a three-pointer as a part of his repertoire was mind-blowing, right? Because we had already seen Ralph Sampson grab the ball, grab a rebound, and sprint the full length of the floor and beat every, like they said, Ralph Sampson, for pound, is probably the greatest athlete that the NBA has ever seen, right? I know people want to say Wilt Chamberlain, but bro, Ralph Sampson,
No, it's
there's no
Will.
way you telling me Ralph Sampson didn't have a 45-inch vertical,
Yeah, but it's
right?
Will.
Right.
It's Will.
I know you say that because Wilt Chamberlain could bench 500 pounds,
Well, Will
right?
could bench 500 pounds. Will was a volleyballer. Will once
A track athlete.
track athlete. Will once dunked the ball from the free throw line from a free throw.
I know this. My
And the
uncle tell me that
referee,
story all
then
the
the
time.
referee was like,
He called travel.
They called travel. And when
Right.
it's like, yo, why you do that? I said, yo, because I've never seen that.
My uncle told me that story. My uncle told me that story.
I've never seen that in my life.
My uncle said, yeah, my uncle said, hey, my uncle told me that story all the time.
Will never fouled out of a game.
Never fouled out of a game, bro. And 1 year he averaged 48.1 minutes per game.
He did that a couple of years.
Yes. How can you average more minutes than a regulation game?
than the actual game.
Right.
So you don't have to. That's like when a boxer goes to his corner and stands up between rounds the entire fight.
It's the most intimidating thing you ever want to see in life. Yeah, since you got on boxing, bro, I promised myself yesterday that I wasn't gonna talk boxing. You brought it up, right?
We can't help us,
bro. I in a 5-round fight with a dude, right? The dude goes to the corner and stands up. He don't lean. You know how some dudes put their arms on the ropes to save some. He ain't drink no water, no towel, no nothing. He went to his corner, turned around, and looked at me the whole time. The bell rang. He came back out. And when you think about, by the time he do that like 3 times in a row, he was like, "This dude is an alien."
It's an alien. Like you don't need no rest. You don't need no. You just stand there ready to go, and you can do it for the entire fight. So you as Will, his numbers. People are still breaking his records today. His numbers is
and
just
this dude
like
hadn't played in 50 years.
Ain't played in like 50 years. His numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
It's like he don't get tired.
Don't get tired, bro. The dude was a triple jumper and a long jumper.
A triple jumper, a long jumper, and a high jumper.
And a high jumper. Right?
And he ran cross country.
Yep. And
at 7'2".
And he walked up to Arnold Schwarzenegger on Venice Beach. Now, they knew each other.
Right.
Schwarzenegger and Wilt knew each other. So when people hear the story, they're like, that's a lie. Dude walks up to Arnold Schwarzenegger on Venice Beach with like 6 model-looking chicks with him. It's Wilt Chamberlain. So I ain't even, you already know what the deal is. He takes his shirt off, like, Arnold, what you doing? Arnold's like, I'm just benching. How much is it? That's $550. Right? Wilt was like, I could probably do that. Arnold was like, Wilt, don't hurt yourself. Arnold was like, yo, somebody spot him. He's like, I don't need a spot. The dude got on the bench and benched 550 twice, got up and put his shirt back on. Okay.
It's not worth discussing.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He's the greatest physical athlete I've ever heard about in this country.
Right.
That I've ever heard about that could run the 100, cross country, triple jump, high jump, long jump.
I'm gonna throw Bo Jackson in there, but okay.
You could throw Bo in there, but I mean,
I'm not saying Bo's better. I'm just saying I'm putting him in an argument.
And Wilt, but see, here's the thing with Wilt though. Wilt retires at 33, 34.
Yeah.
Wilt only has 12 years in the NBA.
Right.
Look at his number. Look at the average. I don't think Wilt ever had a season. It's one season averaging like 20 or 21 was the year he leads the league in assists.
Assists and minutes.
And minutes. Because he wanted to.
Right. And
that team won.
He retired. The only reason why he retired is because the stupid coach of the Wilt hurt his knee. Remember, Wilt hurt his knee
Game 7,
Knicks, right? Yep. And the stupid coach called Wilt lazy. And he's like, lazy?
Well, him and the coach was having problems since the Celtics series when the Celtics beat him that Game 7.
Yep.
When I've heard Lakers players tell the story that Wilt took himself out of the game. You can see the footage. Wilt takes himself out of the game. He's hobbling off.
Right.
And then when Wilt was ready to come back into the game, Wilt tells one of the players that tell the man I'm ready. Because remember, he don't talk to the coach. I think the coach was Herbernikov or something like that. Yeah. Right? Something like that.
Right.
And their relationship was such that they had to have like a third person in between.
Right.
To communicate.
It happens.
And it could be like, you could be like right there.
Yeah, it happens.
And they tell the man I'm ready.
Right.
And they were leading. I can't remember they were leading by, and the coach remarks to him was like, yo, fuck him. We don't need him.
Right.
How you don't need Wilt Chamberlain?
How you don't need Wilt Chamberlain? Right.
It's crazy.
And the other, yep.
Why you don't need a superstar?
Yep. And for that reason, the Lakers franchise went in the toilet in a 2-year stretch. And if it wasn't for Larry O'Brien, I'm going to say if it wasn't for Larry O'Brien and a double.
Well, they were the Lakers.
I'm still mad. Bro, can you imagine the Knicks?
I've told you this before, Freezy. They wouldn't have known what to do with him.
Nah, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't have known what to do with him. We had this conversation, and they wouldn't have known what to do with him. So, Larry O'Brien, they made the right decision, was to send him, keep him, send him back out west, where he already had a fan base. He was with UCLA. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I know, but I know, but I don't. All I'm thinking is the Knicks made the NBA Finals 4 times out of 5 years. We won 2 of them. The only reason why we didn't go in 71, 72 is because the Knicks had so many injuries. Clyde hurt. Everybody hurt. 4 starters missed all them games. They just hurt, come back. One guy come back, the other one go out. But then the next 2 years, we lose to the greatest team to ever play in the LA Lakers, and then we beat that same team the following year. So,
but again, to the Kareem point, they've never been able to pounce or were ready to pounce when the big star became available.
Right. Right.
They've never been able. In my 10 years in it, once.
Okay.
That was, Melo. But even when they brought, here's a name, and I know Knicks fans will be frustrated about this name, Grant Hill.
Right.
The Knicks flirted with Grant Hill at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Flirted with him in the draft. Then they finally flirted with him when he became an unrestricted free agent. Before this is how he gets to Orlando.
Right.
Right? He's a big Patrick Ewing fan. Ewing is his favorite player. They bring him in, they give him the whole spiel and blah 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 blah. Then I think he told us that something. I think the actor Leon was a part of the whole, attraction thing.
Yeah.
And Leon must have said to him, according to the story, Leon must have said to him something like, "Yo, the breezies out here it's gonna be sick for you, killer."
Right. Right.
And his wife overhears.
Yeah.
And was like, "We're not going to New York."
Right.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.
But you get him in your building and you don't have enough, or you unable to close the deal.
Right.
See what I'm saying? It's something like that, Freezy. And I always imagine myself in that role. How would I handle that? I know I'm attacking you on all angles. Meaning your wife, your mother, all of those people who are important to you in your life.
Right.
Guess what? It's Christmas every day until we get to the building, man.
Right. Right. Right.
See what I'm saying? It's
right.
Christmas every day until you get to the building.
Right. Bro.
Whatever she likes, whatever she's into, her friends.
Right. Bro, man, I don't know, bro. Every time I think about that stuff, it just bothers me. That the Grant Hill thing bothers me, right? But the one thing that bothers me more than anything the Knicks ever did, and I think it's going to happen to us again this summer, right? The John Wallace draft. John Wallace should have been a top 10 pick. I don't dispute that. So John Wallace falling to us.
I dispute that.
No, man, no. You can't go back. No, don't look at his career. Look at what he did in college.
John Wallace was lazy.
No.
That's the thing with John. And that's the one thing I've heard John talk or whatever. John never maximized his talent.
Right.
John Wallace is like, John, 6'10", 6'9", 6'10"?
Yeah.
Could shoot, could handle, could dribble.
Yeah. Could pass.
Yep. But when you get here, Freezy, when you get to the big stage, it's not everybody is ready for it.
You can't just depend on your physical gifts at that point. Because in the NBA, everybody is good.
Everybody's fast.
Right.
Because remember, you out here for a check versus college, where you out there for pizza.
Right.
At that time.
But my thing is not John Wallace. Right. It's not me. I don't have a beef with John Wallace. Them picking John Wallace at the pick they picked him at, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, because he fell. But I wouldn't have drafted him in the top 10.
But what I'm saying is you can't trade up one spot to draft Jermaine O'Neal, and you have 3 first-round picks. That right there, my friend, was dumb, right? And the rumor is Jerry West wanted Kobe Bryant so bad that he would trade his starting center for a high school kid.
And he did.
And you can't trade up to a team that picked Vitaly Potapenko. Right? You remember him? Vitaly Potapenko, the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Vitaly
Potapenko.
Right? You couldn't give Cleveland 2 picks or 3 picks so that you could select Kobe Bryant. But you chose to draft Walter McCarty, Dante Jones, and John Wallace. Who all, in their own right, were great college players. All of them were multiple year college players. This is the high school draft. So, AD, this is my thing. Just real quick before we get out of here, right? My thing, this is the reason why I'm frustrated. Because this Knicks team right now is about that same boat as that Knicks team going into the 96-97 year.
Whoa.
Right now, right? 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 Because think about that 96-97 Knicks team. Who was the best player on that team? You have to guess, right? Was it Pat?
Of course.
Was it Allan Houston?
It was Patrick.
Right? I'm thinking. Yeah, it might have been Pat. Right?
Pat was the best player. As long as he was here, he was the best player on the team.
I ain't gonna go that far.
He's
but
the best player of the team. Every year he was here.
Okay,
you can't name a better player than Pat. In his 15 years, there was no better player than Pat.
Pat Ewing is the second greatest player in Knicks history, bro.
That's fine. I'm just talking about in his tenure. In his 15-year tenure,
right.
There was no other player better than him on the Knicks.
Right. Okay.
And I'm gonna give you he's the second best player because you know what? Walt got the rings.
Yep. And Walt was clutch because the Willis Reed game is actually the Clyde Frazier game.
The Clyde Frazier game.
You know what I'm saying?
36, 19, and 7.
Right. But the thing is, I just wanted to say this. This summer, we're in the same situation, bro. Multiple first round picks. Right. And think about this. If everything goes our way, think about if we pick a 4-leaf clover, the Knicks could have 4 first-round picks this year. Right? If Detroit gets red hot and makes the playoffs, which they won't, right? The Washington pick, though, is looking more and more likely, like it might get close, right? More than likely, the Knicks are just going to have 2 first-round picks, right? But the Knicks, this draft is probably the deepest NBA draft since the 1996 draft. And my fear is that a Penny Hardaway or a Kobe Bryant is going to be selected 1 pick ahead of us. And you and I are going to be in October. We're going to be talking about how Leon Rose is shook and how he can't pull the trigger on a move to get the guy.
Okay. Sounds like conversations that we continue to have.
Yeah. All the time. Thank you, everybody, for rocking with us this morning.
Absolutely. For another journey.
It's been a rain. Is it raining? Is it raining where you are? It's been pouring down rain here where I'm at, bro.
No, it's an overcast, but it's decent. It's nice. I mean,
it is raining cats
for January.
Dogs out here, bro.
All right, but thank you again for joining us on this Knick journey. Myself and Uncle Freezy and Old School Knicks and everything in between.
And we can't leave without the saying. We can't leave without the saying. No, I can't.
Look for me in the whirlwind, Garvey.
Bim. All right, y'all. Peace.